Hello, I'm here to talk to you about censorship, a subject that ranges in beliefs, stereotypes, and misunderstandings from all sources. Every one of you out there are forced with the decisions of everyday life to censor certain aspects of their day-to-day proceedings. I'm not here to convince you what I think needs to be censored. I'm just here to beg the question: at what cost? At what cost? At what cost should we give up certain beliefs this country was based on? At what cost do we leave behind the views and rights that our forefathers fought so valiantly to defend and give into consensus? At what cost do we make the conscious decision to lazily give up our God-given right to defend ourselves and let corporate affiliates and those that govern do that for us? Self-accountability is the name of the game I'm preaching today, and it's up to you to bring it upon yourselves to fight for this right. For years, we've been watching helplessly as this country spirals out of control. Things that we wouldn't dare say or do in public back then has now become the norm. I'm upset about this next person. I worry about my 4 kids and um and whether they have the knowledge to ignore certain status quo that they constantly come in contact with. Abortion is widely accepted. Rights are violated every day. Crime is constantly on the rise and sex is everywhere. I can't turn on Cartoon Network after 10 o'clock if they're still awake because they might watch Family Guy, American Dad, or this FX networks they might watch the show Archer. I personally love all these shows. I love watching them, and it's okay that they come on because I won't let my children watch them because they won't be up at 10 o'clock. I'm a responsible parent that gives them a bedtime. I also worry about the show Teen Mom, one that my wife loves to watch. I personally think is the third biggest piece of garbage that's ever been aired on television, maybe short of the Jersey Shore or the Housewife reality show that she watches. That doesn't stop her from watching it, and neither should it stop you if you enjoy those shows. See, I plan to raise my children to know whether something contains character to which he or she should model themselves after. I plan for them to have the capabilities to recognize idiots in situations that are harmful to them. So I don't worry as much about Teen Mom making pregnancy look cool as much as the little boys are going to make passes at my girls, whether or not Teen Mom is on the air. And while I would never let my child play Grand Theft Auto at the age that he's at now, I don't care if he plays it when he's 15. I don't think he's going to go jack a car and shoot someone because GTA does it. Much like I don't care they're going to try. Much like I don't think they're going to try to jump down the kitchen sink drain because Mario and Luigi walked through sewer pipe to save a princess. I believe they're smart enough to know that it's fake and know the difference between things. Which brings us to the FCC. The FCC has been fighting some pretty ridiculous battles as of late, as noted in the article by Brad Dick, Profanity Free TV. Laura Mahoney, director of External Affairs, thinks all broadcasting should have a delay, even the so-called live broadcasting of football games and things like that. I personally am indifferent to this, as I don't really care if it has a 5 second delay. That's not going to hurt me any, and I don't like it when my children hear an accidental cuss word or anything of that nature. But let's be honest, we all started that whole thing over the infamous Super Bowl halftime show with Janet Jackson and the wardrobe malfunction that I personally didn't mind. Not just for obvious reasons, but the simple fact that my kids had seen nudity before. They were all breastfed, not to mention there are 6 of us living in the house, so privacy is unknown in its origin in my home. Nudity isn't a hot button issue for me. My children are, however, going to be shielded from sexual situations, shielded by me, not by media outlets. Sheila Ittner has an article, Censorship versus Selection, in which she examines library decisions to stock or not to stock the popular book 50 Shades of Grey. Why would it matter? I believe in God, yet there are plenty of scientific articles on the Big Bang Theory in library shelves today. It's called a theory, right? So, I mean, it's still considered a theory. So what makes it okay to house thousands of books that go against religious beliefs, but 50 Shades of Grey is a step too far? I don't think my 10-year-old boy or my 7-year-old girl would attempt to read a book that size anyway, even if it was a requirement for a grade or anything, much less stumble upon it in a public library. First off, I would have to explain to them the concept that you can check out a book without ordering on Kindle or Nook anyways. Then there's the wonderful question of violence. Children are shielded from violence by the FCC. The FCC doesn't raise my children. I don't care what Eminem says because my kids don't listen to him. I wouldn't let them. I raise them myself. So it's my job to edit their experience, not Eminem's job to edit his music. They say someone in the public eye has to watch what they say because they can be perceived as a role model. Eminem is not going to be a role model to my children. My children are not going to grow up to be rappers or whatever. If they do grow up into performing arts or something musical, they will know the basis of a role model. I wanted to grow up to be a football star, but my father was still my role model. He raised me, not Brett Favre. Protect children, as Jonathan Rentels and Peggy Sharon said it in the article Private Ryan and Public Censorship. We had the rights as parents to make our own decisions on what our children watch, they said. ABC refused to air Saving Private Ryan a few years back on the basis of violence. So basically, if TV airs it, you have no control of the kids to watch it. I don't buy that. As I was researching the subject of censorship, I came across a couple of articles that were disturbing to me. There were two articles labeled First Amendment Blues and A Censorship Test, both written by the same author, Ed Foster. They examined corporate censorship and its effects. The articles focused on the software companies and their licenses agreements. A little known clause in a McAfee licensing agreement that when you download a product, such as their virus protection, or even after purchasing the disk of the product, you have to acknowledge that you cannot speak negatively of the product's performance or dependability. If you don't check the little license agreement on the box that it brings up, then it won't work. And if you all think about it, I'm sure most of you have used a product like that and checked the little box, and I'm sure most products out there have the same licenses agreement in them. This is a violation of rights to me. We could technically not use the product and refuse it, but that is still a low, underhanded move by the company to me. So while they are legally right, America is headed down a slippery slope with this accepted censorship that we've become accustomed to. I dug even further and found a study showing the majority of removed articles and pages from Google wasn't rightful censorship of unethical practices like race-related jargon or bullying or anything like that may be considered against somebody's beliefs. But they were mostly removed for defamation of character of businesses. Big corporations are fighting Google left and right over negative views on their business. In fact, there are businesses out there that patrol the internet and fish out negative reviews from the internet and remove them for big corporations and big companies. I saw one advertised the other day. It advertised that one disgruntled customer can ruin a whole business. Well, it's always been my experience that if you keep the customer happy, they're not going to go through all the trouble to complain for no good reason. In fact, you probably have to make them pretty angry for them to go through that trouble. So that brings us back to the self-accountability thing. Self-accountability, and a fine example on how to elude it instead of embracing it, would be the thing about the big companies and stuff hiring these outside companies to fish negative reviews off the internet. They're not being held accountability for their own actions. It's time for us as Americans to step up and take action for ourselves, or at least make decisions on what action to take instead of asking others to do it for us, like the FCC and big companies. That's only furthering their own agenda. Just something to think about next time that you're looking over the internet, or next time you purchase a product or a service over the internet. Just think about that a little bit. Thank you.